president, one of my areas of focus has been ensuring our board reflects the communities we serve. The 4 new board members you'll hear from tonight are a wonderful addition to our organization and bring valuable lived experience and expertise to energize us and move us forward. Now I'll pass it to Mike Brickner, our Executive Director, to walk you through the rest of the program. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much, Ariel. Really glad to be here with you all tonight. My name is Mike Brickner. I use he, him pronouns, and I am Executive Director of the ACLU of Delaware. So we have a really excellent program here for you all tonight. We are going to be hearing from a lot of our leaders of the organization who volunteer to give their time on the board and who work as the ACLU staff each and every day. There are a few ground rules I want to just mention to you all today. First of all, we do have a Q&A section in our, if you click down at the bottom where you can actually add in questions, and then we also have a resources link that you can use. That is going to give you more information about different initiatives that we have. It's going to give you more information about various campaigns that are ongoing. So please do click there. You're going to see things populate as we go along in the program. I love the annual meeting because each and every year it gives us some time to reflect back on what has happened thus far. And I know that this year has felt really tough for a lot of us. We have seen our civil liberties be attacked by the federal government, and many of us have been, I think, in a lot of despair and anger about the things that we have seen come out in executive orders or in new U.S. Supreme Court decisions, and a few just from today and the last week. And even what's coming out of Congress. And so it's a time where a lot of us are extremely frustrated. We may feel very sad and depressed about the direction that our country is going. But I can tell you that I have a lot of hope because I get to work each and every day at the ACLU of Delaware. And we are really at the forefront of defending freedom and liberty here in the state of Delaware. I'm very proudly wearing my Firewall for Freedom t-shirt tonight. And that has been a campaign that we launched when Donald Trump was inaugurated back on January 20th. And I'm very proud to say that we provided a whole range of policies that Delaware leaders could implement to help to protect our civil liberties. And to date, we've trained over 600 advocates here in the state of Delaware on the Firewall for Freedom, how to effectively advocate, how to be able to talk about various issues, and how to make change happen in the state. In addition, with our rights under attack, we've also made sure that people know their rights. So we have done dozens of Know Your Rights events up and down the state in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole, where we've made sure that every single person who might come into contact with ICE or might want to exercise their First Amendment rights know how to conduct themselves, know the rules, know what police are supposed to do, and can make sure that their rights are going to be protected. So I'm really proud that we have created sort of a community of civil libertarians this year, and that we have been well poised to fight back and make sure that are protected. a lot of our staff right now are actually in the halls of Dover. As I speak right now, the House and the Senate are voting on really important bills that are pending. And I'm really energized about a lot of those things because we have seen Delaware legislators who have started to make really, really critical changes. And we are on the precipice of passing bills that will put us at the forefront of defending civil liberties. Just last week, our governor, Matt Meyer, issued an executive order protecting gender affirming care for transgender people in our state, which is incredibly important, especially with the US Supreme Court decision that attacked transgender health care for minors. So we can be proud that we have that here in the state of Delaware. Even more importantly, the legislature is going to be voting on a bill that will protect all legal health care in the state in the same way that reproductive health care and transgender, gender affirming healthcare is protected. So we can be a proud state that we're not going to have people be attacked because they're exercising their own personal decision about their healthcare from people in other states or the federal government. In addition, we just had a wonderful vote today in the Senate Executive Committee to advance a new bill to ban 287G agreements, which are these agreements between federal ICE agents and local law enforcement. And we just are one Senate vote and a signature from the governor away to pass that bill. So we are incredibly excited about that. At the same time, we are playing, some defense against the Trump administration. We also know that we have to be on offense and we have to continue to move forward the work that existed before Donald Trump was elected. So just before I got onto this call, our state House of Representatives voted to pass two really important criminal legal reform bills. The first is going to help to reform our probation system, Senate Bill 7. It's now passed and just needs a signature from the governor. And then Senate Bill 10 also passed the House, which would allow for compassionate release in the state so that people who have reformed themselves, who are older or have illnesses, can get out of prison and make the best of the last few years of their life, which is incredibly important in terms of giving second chances, but also having a legal system that works and that we're not utilizing, hundreds of thousands of dollars to incarcerate a person when they can be just as successful back home with their families. So those both just need a signature from the governor. We also have some amazing voting rights bills that you're going to hear from our staff on tonight that are pending votes in the House. These amendments will transform our state. And so I feel incredibly hopeful. We have a strong advocating and making change in the state, not just the staff, but the board members, the volunteers, and our coalition partners. So you're going to hear from those folks tonight. And we are going to put up that firewall for freedom. We are going to be a state that respects civil liberties, that protects the most vulnerable. And at the same time, we're going to continue to move our work forward, the things that were a priority far before Donald Trump was inaugurated. The other thing that I really, really love about our annual meeting is it's your chance to get to meet some of our new board members. And I am really, really excited about these folks. I've had a chance to talk and be around each of them. They are going to bring, I think, a lot of new energy and new excitement to our work. So I am just really, really proud and excited to have these folks on board and to have you meet them a little bit tonight. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move into introducing our board members. Again, you're going to get to hear a little bit from them and learn a little bit more about them. So first, I'd like to ask John Bonson to come onto the screen. And John, you are coming to us live from Kent County, right?
That is correct. Thank you, Mike. So, yeah, my name is John Bonson. I currently live in Dover, Delaware, with my husband. Um, and yeah, live in Kent County. It's fantastic.
And so I get to ask questions to each of the new board members. And John, what I really want to know about you is what inspired you to take this step now? Why did you want to be an ACLU Delaware board member?
Sure, absolutely. So, I think it's no surprise that today's environment is pretty hectic, right? We live in that 24-hour news cycle, and we are constantly bombarded by not the best news. And as you alluded to before, many of our rights are under attack every single day. Um, and I have a firm belief that, it takes a lot of fight, it takes a lot of energy to maintain those rights. Those rights aren't just freely given. You need to work for them, and you need to continue working for them to make sure that everyone gets to enjoy them. And so I felt this calling to join the Delaware ACLU um, because it's something that I can do to give back to my community, to continue that fight, to continue fighting for these rights and making sure that everyone in our community, whether it be in Delaware, whether it be in Kent County, or whether it just be in the country as a whole, gets to continue to enjoy the rights that I've enjoyed my entire life.
That is so wonderful. Thank you so much, John. And I am super excited for you to join the board and have just a little bit more Kent County representation. Super excited. Next, y'all get to meet Galena Dames. And Galena is really amazing. She is building community right here in Wilmington. So, Galena, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yes, first of all, thank you for having me, and thank you to everyone who voted for me. I'm so excited to be here. So I am based in Wilmington, Delaware. Just a little background, I went to UD, and I majored in international relations. Since my time at UD till now, my early career, I've had the opportunity to work deeply with the community in Wilmington. I've worked with several campaigns in the state of Delaware from the local to state level, and I'm just so excited to help advance policy, storytelling, and grassroots advocacy that centers marginalized communities, especially young people, immigrants, and Black and Brown residents across the state. I'm passionate about bridging the gap between lived experience and legal reform, and I'm eager to contribute to projects that not only challenge unjust systems, but also uplift the community voices in the process. So any project that has to do with strategic communications, organizing efforts, or engaging in policy research is something that I'm interested in contributing in. And I love everyone here. I think that everyone has something really important and vital to contribute, especially at this time where our work is not only necessary, but dire. So thank you again.
That is so great. And okay, I secretly want to ask you about foreign affairs since you had the degree in international relations, but I'm not going to do that to you. But you talked about some of the things that you're most excited about, strategic communications, organizing. What's like one project that you would really love to sink your teeth into here at the ACLU Dell?
So I think that your work with the immigration policy that's just about to get passed is really, really important. I mean, we see every day the attack on immigrants, attack on children, even they're trying to attack American citizens. So any safeguards that the state can do to protect those citizens or those people is really important. If I can help with campaigning to push that forward, I'll be really excited to do that. So just tap on me and I'm like ready to go.
All right, get your bullhorn ready because I'm definitely going to be tapping on your shoulder and I'll see you out at a protest and doing some campaigning and some organizing. So
Yeah.
super excited you're here with us, Galena. Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
So next up, I actually have the new board member that I got to meet in person already, Christina Hill Johnson. Christina, you and I saw each other at the Attorney General Forum a couple weeks ago, right?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Yeah, how was that experience, seeing the AG in person and hearing a little bit more about the work going on?
It was great. It was, sometimes what I do like about Delaware is the politicians are kind of more close. And I'm originally from New York, so you would rarely ever see politicians. So it's very nice to kind of have that close proximity to the politicians. So it was awesome, and I loved everything that she's been doing and everything that the ACLU has been doing. So yeah, it was a great experience, and then of course it was great to meet you in person.
Awesome. Well, and so other than originally being from New York, tell us a little
Yeah.
bit more about yourself, Christina.
Sure. Well, thank you everyone for voting for me. It's greatly appreciate it. So my name is Christina Hill Johnson, and I live in Wilmington. And I live in Wilmington here with my beautiful, smart scientist wife. She runs the Penn Medicine Lab in Philadelphia. I'm also a community advocate and a proud foster parent. I've had 7 children in my care, not all at one time, but since since I became a foster parent, I've had 7 children. I currently have 1 now. And now I'm so excited to be a part of the powerhouse that is the ACLU of Delaware. I bring years of experience of making sense of financial systems, managing bank relationships, navigating the complexities of foster care system, and pushing back against policies that are designed to leave people behind. Unlike Dunkin' Donuts, I don't run on coffee, I run on conviction. I stay wide awake because when basic rights are under threat, especially from wannabe can't even talk right now, authoritarians who treat the Constitution like a suggestion, the only answer is action. We're living in a moment where rights are being stripped away under the guise of order and freedom, and whatever today's buzzword is. And I've seen firsthand how systems fail the most vulnerable, how policies can affect livelihoods, and I'm here to help change that. I'm not afraid to speak up, especially when people in charge are more interested in power and photo ops than people. I believe in showing up and being loud when it matters and standing between injustice and the communities it tries to bulldoze.
Amazing. I might have to steal that tagline of "I don't run on coffee, I run on conviction." I love that so much.
I actually don't drink coffee, and people are always very surprised. They're like, "How do you not drink coffee?" I'm like, I kind of have my own natural caffeine.
Oh, that is great. Well, you're going to be like an Energizer bunny for us. I can
Yes.
already feel it.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so quick, Galina and I are going to be going to a protest soon, and you can come with us. What's going to be on your sign?
Okay, so I have 2. I could not decide which one. So my first one was, in Delaware, we don't do kings, we do court dates. And guess who's losing? And my next one is, Donald, you're not above the law. You're just really bad at it. Luckily, the ACLU stays ready.
Oh, I love that. That is so great. And, very accurate. I am super proud. In the first days, the ACLU filed 110 legal actions against the Trump administration. And that has only obviously grown since that first 100 days. And many of them we are successful on. So, I hope that we keep that success rate up. So, well, you definitely earned your spot at the protest, and super excited to see you there with your sign. So, finally, our last new board member is Gerald Stratford. So, Gerald, come on up on the screen and tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so well, thank you, and thanks to everybody that voted. Thank you to everybody who was part of the process. Yeah, so I'm Gerald Stratford. So I'm honored to be here. I'm excited to be part of the board. Um, the work that I do, I focus on people impacted by the legal system. So I work directly with clients, doing mitigation work, reentry planning. I also connect people in the community to housing resources, employment resources, mental health, substance abuse, counseling. I've also done nonprofit work and youth development, and also climate justice as well.
Those are all amazing and important issues. And, I oftentimes get asked, especially for people that want to kind of first get involved in justice reform issues, what's that first step that I can take? So what would you tell that person? How could they best get involved?
I believe the first step is listening, and listening with real intention. The roles that I've had, I had a background in youth reentry, and working with young people, you're actually working with their entire family. So you're sitting in their homes, you're sitting in their schools, and you're listening. And so, before we could speak or take action, we have to understand what people are actually experiencing, and especially those closest to the injustice. So learning from them, standing with them, and just using whatever platform we have to, amplify their experiences and push for a change.
That's amazing. I'm just wondering, I'm curious now, when you've talked to young people who might have been involved in the justice system, what's something maybe unexpected that they've told you, or something that kind of changed your mind or your heart?
Um, I think they're all really excited, just to have somebody to listen to, just to have a phone number in their phone, somebody that they can reach out to. It's not their parent, maybe not their probation officer, but um, and they'll test you. Sometimes they'll call or text me and they don't really want anything. They just want to see if I'll actually pick up the phone. And so, it's a pleasant surprise to know that, okay, if somebody's actually there, they will reach out.
Amazing. Well, again, really wonderful work that you're doing, Gerald, and so happy to have you on board. And I hope everybody who's here can understand why I was like hyping up our new board members and so excited about them, because they are amazing and dynamic. And I can't wait to see what you're all going to do on this board. And I know that we're going to be a more powerful organization because you all are a part of it in this way. Um, but we also can't do our work without the wonderful staff that we have here. And so next, you're going to be able to hear a little bit more from one of our really key staff members. Now, he's also one of our newest staff members, just started right at the beginning of this year. And his name is Brandon Fletcher. I think a lot of folks who live in the Wilmington area probably know Brandon. He's been an organizer for a very long time. And I say that even though he's very young. I think he must have started organizing when he was in preschool. And he has been just an absolute powerhouse. And so he has come to ACLU of Delaware to be our voting rights organizer, because we have a lot of work to do around voting rights. We are falling behind a lot of our other states in terms of the franchise. And so Brandon is the key person getting the community involved and making sure that we are out there advocating for our voting rights. So, Brandon, come on up on screen and just tell us a little bit what's been going on with our voting rights campaign this year. What's changed, and what have we accomplished?
Yeah, first, I just want to say across the country and in Washington, we're witnessing a coordinated attack on voting rights. And we've seen states pass laws to restrict vote by mail, purge voter rolls, close polling locations, target returning citizens, and disabled communities. And at the same time, the federal government has failed to step up. And so this is why the fight has turned to the states. If federal protections are stalled, we're looking to our state legislature to lead, to expand access to protect the freedom to vote. So here in Delaware, we've seen real movement through the Every Vote Counts campaign. We've championed legislation like SB 3 to guarantee no excuse absentee voting, and SB 2 to safeguard our early in-person voting period. We've also fought to end felony disenfranchisement with House Bill 180 and to advance same-day registration with House Bill 88. Even though Delaware is seen as a blue state, we're actually behind. Delaware is still one of 14 states without no excuse absentee voting, and one of 17 that requires registration more than 3 weeks before Election Day. So our biggest roadblock, of course, is the constitutional roadblock. To fully secure voting rights, we need to amend Delaware's constitution, a process that takes 2 consecutive General Assembly wins.
Yeah, so that's not going to be easy to do, Brandon. So how are you activating people right now to start to make that change and get those constitutional amendments passed?
Yeah, so we're building toward that long-term constitutional fight while growing the infrastructure to organize around local elections like school board races and special elections where voter suppression can quietly thrive. The most important thing right now is growing public pressure in our targeted legislative districts in the state. We have a Middletown Odessa Townsend district that we're targeting, a Hockessin district that we're targeting. We need to be talking to those neighbors, building volunteer teams, and making sure people know that voting rights are under threat, even in Delaware. And so I think all the studies show that Delawareans overwhelmingly support these reforms. Over 70% of Delawareans support restoring voting rights for returning citizens. We love our early voting, and so we want to get out there. And also know that our campaign isn't just about policy, it's about building a pro-democracy culture in our state that can last.
Absolutely. So important. Okay, I'm going to ask you a curveball question. So get ready. But we have 4 constitutional amendments, right? So early in-person voting, vote by mail, restoring right to vote for returning citizens, and same-day registration. I know this is going to be like picking your favorite sibling or your favorite child, but which amendment are you the most hyped up about?
I am the most hype about SB2, which would make it so that early in-person voting is enshrined in our Constitution. We know that those 10 days of early voting, a lot of people can turn out and participate in elections, and we need that protected in our state. You know, if we want to protect the freedom to vote, we can't wait for Washington to save us. And so we need to keep building this fight right here, right now. And so I encourage everyone who's here to join the Every Vote Counts campaign and get involved, because when every vote counts, every voice matters.
Amazing. I'm an early in-person voter, so I appreciate you picking SB2. I love that one as well. So yeah, for folks who want to get involved, what's next? Where are we headed? And how can they tap into this campaign?
Yeah, so you can donate to the Every Vote Counts campaign to help fuel our work, you know, to be able to get the water for our volunteers who are going to be out knocking on doors, the clipboards, the pens, the t-shirts. We're a grassroots campaign. We also have a special election that's coming up in Lewis that we want to get down there and knock on doors. And so you can go to the ACLU Delaware website, go to the volunteer page, click the Every Vote Counts campaign and fill out the form. Whether you're new or if you have a lot of experience in organizing and campaigns, we want you. We want canvassers. We want people who can, you know, who have relationships with elected officials to join this campaign.
Wonderful. And yeah, as I mentioned, when we opened up that resources tab on the bottom, that has links to a lot of the things that we're talking about. So again, if you want to get involved, click on those and you can tap into our voting rights campaign. And you know what? If you get involved with the voting rights campaign, I bet that's a great way to also get involved with some of the other campaigns that we're going to be talking about here in a moment too. So again, you don't have to just be a single issue person here at the ACLU. You can work on all of the issues that we care about. So thank you so much, Brandon. Next up, we're going to kind of continue along the voting rights theme, but we have our really wonderful board member. He's our board treasurer, Tom O'Brien. Tom is, first of all, an amazing amazing treasurer. He's able to, keep us on track with our finances. He helps chair our finance committee. But he's also a committed volunteer and donor with the ACLU of Delaware. And so a few months ago, he and his wife Jennifer approached us and said, "Hey, we would love to have a party at our house." And I said, "Oh, Tom, I love to party. And I know Tom throws a good party, and so does his wife Jennifer." And so we said, "We'd love to." And he said, "I want this to benefit the voting rights campaign." So I'm wondering, Tom, if you could talk a little bit about what inspired you to get involved with the voting rights campaign and host that donor party at your house.
Sure, Mike, and thanks for that. Yeah, I think Jennifer and I feel, as many may, that voting is just fundamental to our democracy. Of all the great causes and great rights that the ACLU fights for, right to vote is how the average person has their voice heard, and is just fundamental to making change for better or worse in the country. So kind of inspired by that, Jennifer and I are both poll workers, and we've been poll workers here in Wilmington for many years. And we've seen the positive of some of the things that Brandon and Mike have just talked about. We've seen people who vote early. We've seen people who ordinarily wouldn't be able to vote because of time constraints now be able to vote and get their voice heard. We had a couple inspiring people come in that weren't registered on election day, that for the poll worker in the site, it was very easy, despite what some representatives may say. We hand them off, they go to the phone. 5 minutes later, they come back, they're registered, and they go in the booth, and that bell rings, and the entire place applauds for them. It's like, that's what this country should be, right? We should be able to let people vote. So we're frankly embarrassed by the state of voting in Delaware. And this, we thought, was just some small way that we could help move the cause forward.
Wonderful. And by the way, thank you for serving as a poll worker. You all are heroes of democracy in my book. But I know, sometimes people are like, hosting a party, it must be like a lot of work, and you got to do all this stuff. So what was it like to host a party? What were some of the things that were expected of you? And how did the ACLU kind of help you carry out that party?
It was great. I would say, Melissa, who many of you may know, Director of Development, knows how to throw a party. So she took us through the entire process, her and her staff. For us, it was really just helping to manage who we wanted to invite that we knew. And of course, between Melissa and Mike, the ACLU has a list of folks who are in the area of Wilmington here who could come by. And what was kind of impactful for us as well is that, like many things that the ACLU supports, you might think, it's political, it's a third rail. Like, I think most reasonable people want people to vote, right? So it's like, it was something that we could really put our names on and rally folks around. And, the people came, had a great time, had kind of a low pressure conversation between Mike and other folks from staff and ourselves, and other board members were nice enough to come. So I think the impact, I think, goes beyond the people who were physically there to, like, everybody that was on the invite list. Kind of, I put my name on it, ACLU names. I made them think about it. And then I think there are people definitely who were in that room who, like myself, didn't know the sorry state of Delaware election laws and are now advocates out in the networks. And, it's I think through some of this action of 20 or 30 people at a time telling 5 or 10 friends, like that will, I hope, build the groundswell for some of the work that Brandon and others are working so diligently on. So it was a great experience for us, and we appreciated doing it.
And since Tom's been talking about what a sorry state our voting rights laws are in here in Delaware, I feel like I have to say this because it's one of his favorite factoids, but if you take all of the laws that we've mentioned tonight, not having same-day registration, not having vote by mail without an excuse, having lifetime disenfranchisement for some people, and then also having, yes, we do still have early in-person voting right now, but it's not protected, and we only have it really based off of a technicality right now. If you take all of those things combined, Delaware is just one of 3 states with those types of restrictions on the books, and the other 2 are Alabama and Mississippi. And I think that we can do a lot better here in the first state than to be with Alabama and Mississippi. No offense to Alabama and Mississippi.
Mike, you have to let me be treasurer for a minute here.
Go ahead.
And I also will say another bonus is that any donations, any checks people wrote as a result of this are fully matched by Longwood Foundation. So 2 for 1, and that was inspiring as well. So lots of reasons for folks to get involved in these types of things.
So I love that, Tom. And see, you're such a good treasurer mentioning that kind of stuff. And this is why, especially this year, that match runs through the end of this calendar year. So if you've ever thought about hosting a party, or maybe this is a year that you're like, I want to make an extra donation to the ACLU. I feel like I got to dig a little bit deeper and go beyond the annual amount that I usually give to the ACLU. This is really the year to do it, because your dollars are going to be matched by Longwood Foundation up to $50,000. And so that will really help to fuel our work. This is going to be a really tough campaign. As Brandon mentioned, we have to do constitutional amendments. Those have to pass by a supermajority of votes in both chambers over 2 general assemblies. So we're planning for this campaign to take at least 5 years for us to do. And so we need your support to make that happen. So thank you so much for your support, Tom, and for, I don't know, making us feel a little bit more at ease with having an ACLU party at our house. So take the plunge, contact our office, and we'll come with all of the party supplies. It'll be fun. Come back on though in a moment. Don't worry. If it's all right, since we were just talking with a volunteer, I'm going to go to our next person, who's also a super volunteer with the ACLU, but on a different issue. So we have Janine, and Janine is actually one of our illustrious Smart Justice Ambassadors. Smart Justice Ambassadors are people who have a direct lived experience or have a family member who's had a direct lived experience with the criminal legal system. As you know, I think you heard from some of our other board members and some of our staff and volunteers, we really believe that people who are closest to the issue, those who have had that life experience in the system, are the ones who are closest to the answers to those problems. And so we really try and have those individuals lead our work. And so Janine is one of those people. So Janine, could you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what you do as a Smart Justice Ambassador?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, my name is Janine Campbell, and I am proud to be one of the newest Smart Justice Ambassadors. I became an SJA because I believe that our criminal justice system is broken. Unjust policies have devastated enough families, including my own. My nephew has been incarcerated since the age of 18. He's 35 now. So he served 17 years despite not being convicted of murder. I have other family members behind bars, as well as another one who's actually sentenced to 120 years. And again, he didn't take a life. These are people that I truly love, and that's why I became a Smart Justice Ambassador. I believe that change begins when we speak up, and so I wanted to be a part of that change.
That's wonderful. I love that so much. And you actually then, as a Smart Justice Ambassador, went through some training, right? We had like a retreat. What was that like? What were some of the things that you learned at that?
Wow. So we learned a lot. That was a whole weekend retreat. It was wonderful. I got to meet other folks with the same passion who have lived experience or people that they really care about. But we really learned how to be grassroots, how to, advocate and speak with our legislators. We learned about different bills. For me, it was just like any other training I have received, like the firewall training from the ACLU. It just helped me to become a better advocate.
I love that so much. I've been to a couple of our Smart Justice Ambassador trainings, and it is so much fun and such a joy to be there. So glad that you got to go through that. And I know you also recently got some training around how to do Know Your Rights presentations for people who might encounter the police. So what was that like, and what have you been doing with that training now?
Yeah, so the Know Your Rights training, that was very powerful. There were things that I thought I knew that I didn't really know. So, I learned a lot. I mean, you don't really understand or realize how many myths there are around, policing and everything. And so now what I did was I took that training and I'm now educating the community about their legal rights when they have police encounters. And so this information for me is very important. And I'm just excited about it because I know that it can be very impactful. It can help reduce fear, with folks and, just hold police officers accountable.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And you know, I think mass incarceration is kind of like one of the biggest systems that we have to try and tackle, right? And there's so many different issues that we can focus on. So what are you looking forward most to accomplishing and to kind of, attacking in terms of reform for the mass incarceration system?
Well, I'm happy to hear about the compassionate release bill, bill number 10, that, it was passed. I do believe that when you did your time and you come home, you should be free, and you don't have to continue to live a life as a prisoner. But I'm really excited about the compassionate release bill becoming law. So that was good news.
Yeah, I am really excited about that bill too. Anything else that you're looking forward to accomplishing as a Smart Justice Ambassador?
Well, it's been very exciting watching the SB 7. So I also heard some good news tonight as well. I watched the legislative process, and I know that this bill would definitely bring real change. And so I am just fully excited just for that to become law as well. So.
That is wonderful. Well, thank you so much for all the advocacy that you're doing, Janine. And I love that we have our Smart Justice Ambassadors. Total, we have about 40 of them all across the state doing this type of advocacy work. So again, just so proud that we have you and so many other folks on the front lines. Usually each year we have a process to bring in some new Smart Justice Ambassadors. So please, keep your eyes open for that potentially coming up in the future. So we haven't yet gotten Margaret and Chase back, but I will just say before we go to our closing, I actually got to see Margaret in action today. So she, as I mentioned, went to the Firewall for Freedom meeting where she learned how to advocate. She was one of the people giving testimony on House Bill 182, the 287G immigration bill, in the Senate Executive Committee today. And she was one of about 24 people who testified in favor of that bill. And she gave really poignant personal testimony about why that legislation was important to her. So I just have to tell you that, you know, if you have been kind of soul searching out there about what can I do? How can I get active? How can I make a difference? Get involved with the ACLU. You know, Margaret and Chase, they showed up at a firewall training a few months ago, and now they're in the halls of Dover advocating for those changes. And that bill is on the precipice of passing right now. So again, you can make a huge, huge difference. And I would encourage you, volunteer with the ACLU, come to a training, come to an event. So with that, I'm going to invite our board president, Ariel, back up. So Ariel, are you feeling energized and excited about all of the work going on at the ACLU of Delaware?
Yes, I'm so inspired by everyone, our board, our staff, our contributors. Thank you so much for all the work you're doing.
Yeah, and again, you know, the work doesn't really ever stop at the ACLU of Delaware. I would love to put ourselves out of business and have, you know, all of our rights guaranteed under the Constitution, but I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. And so again, I would just encourage you, get involved. You know, go to the website, volunteer. We have some amazing events coming up. Many of you may have seen we just started advertising for our annual Candler celebration, which we are really dedicating to all of you this year. Typically, we charge for tickets and we give out awards. This decided everybody gets an award because you all are our MVPs, the activists and the advocates out there who have really made change. So we're not charging for tickets. We're still asking for your support to sponsor us to keep the work going at the ACLU. But we want every single community member to be at that Candler celebration so that we can really have our full community with us. And we don't want cost to be a barrier for some people to attend. So support us as a sponsor, but also, you know, if you can't afford a sponsorship or a ticket, you can still come. We're allowing everyone to be there for free. And we want to recognize you. Also, if you are based in Southern Delaware in Sussex County, keep your eyes open because in October, we are going to be hosting our national board president. So like Ariel, but on the national level, she is an amazing author, Deborah Archer. She's going to be in Lewis speaking at this public library. But then she is going to be hosting a special exclusive fireside chat in Lewis for ACLU supporters. So folks are going to see that wonderful work coming. So again, go onto our website, click onto our volunteer stuff, and please, please, please come to one of our upcoming events. With that, I feel like we're energized. We feel like we are making a difference here. And so, Ariel, I'll turn it back over to you to close out the program.
All right. Thanks so much, Mike. Everything you and the staff are doing is just so great. We're so lucky to have you. So with that, I will call our annual meeting to a close, and I want to thank everyone again for joining us and look forward to seeing you out in the community soon.